Picture standing on the edge of a vast desert, staring at a series of massive lines carved into the earth so precise and symmetrical that they seem to stretch endlessly toward the horizon. Or imagine wandering through a dense jungle only to stumble upon a towering stone structure, its purpose lost to time, covered in vines and whispered legends. These aren't scenes from a fantasy novel, they're real places, scattered across our planet, left behind by ancient civilizations whose secrets we're still trying to unravel. From the moment humans began shaping the world around them, they left behind traces of their ingenuity, their beliefs, and sometimes their mysteries. And today, these geographic anomalies continue to baffle historians, archaeologists, and adventurers alike. What if I told you that there are at least 25 of these enigmatic sites, each one defying simple explanation? Places where the very landscape seems to whisper questions without answers. Some were built with such precision that modern engineers struggle to replicate their techniques. Others align with celestial events in ways that suggest a knowledge of the cosmos far beyond what we thought possible for their time. And then there are those that seem to serve no practical purpose at all, unless you consider the possibility that they were meant for something beyond our current understanding. These aren't just ancient ruins, they're puzzles waiting to be solved, invitations to step into the past and wonder what those who came before us knew that we've forgotten. This journey isn't just about admiring old stones or impressive feats of engineering. It's about connecting with the human spirit that dared to create the impossible, to leave behind monuments that would outlast empires. It's about the thrill of standing in a place where time feels thin, where the line between history and mystery blurs. Over the course of this video, we'll explore 25 of the most astonishing geographic anomalies from the ancient world, sites that challenge our assumptions, spark our curiosity, and remind us that the past is far more complex than we often give it credit for. So come along, let's step into the unknown together and see what secrets the Earth has been keeping. High in the arid deserts of southern Peru, spread across nearly 200 square miles of rocky plateau, lie the Nazca Lines, one of the most perplexing artistic achievements of the ancient world. These colossal geoglyphs, etched into the earth between 500 BCE and 500 CE, depict everything from geometric spirals and trapezoids to intricate animal figures, including a hummingbird, a spider, and even what appears to be a humanoid figure nicknamed the astronaut by modern observers. Some of these designs stretch over 600 feet long, their lines so perfectly straight and symmetrical that they seem almost machine-made. Yet they were crafted by the Nazca people using nothing more than simple tools and an astonishing understanding of perspective. What makes these markings even more extraordinary is that they can only truly be appreciated from the air, a fact that has fueled endless speculation. How did a civilization without flight create art meant to be seen from above? Some researchers believe the Nazca used rudimentary hot air balloons or scaffolding to guide their work, though no direct evidence supports this. Others argue the lines were meant for the gods, visible only from the heavens, serving as ritual pathways for ceremonial processions. Then there's the astronomical theory, suggesting the geoglyphs align with celestial events, marking solstices or acting as a massive star map. But perhaps the most baffling aspect of the Nazca Lines is their preservation. The desert's unique climate, almost no rain, minimal wind, and a stable layer of iron oxide-coated pebbles has kept these fragile markings intact for over 2,000 years. Even today, scientists marvel at how the slightest disturbance could erase them, yet they've endured centuries untouched. Some see this as proof of careful planning, while others wonder if it hints at a deeper, lost knowledge of the land. Whether they were messages to the cosmos, sacred walking paths, or something else entirely, the Nazca Lines remain an open question. They challenge us to reconsider what ancient cultures were capable of, and why they went to such lengths to leave their mark on the earth in ways we're still struggling to decipher. Now let's shift our gaze from the sprawling desert lines of Nazca to the silent, watchful guardian of Egypt, the Great Sphinx of Giza. Towering over the sands with the body of a lion and the face of a pharaoh, this monumental statue has stared into the horizon for millennia, its origins as enigmatic as the riddles it's said to guard. While mainstream archaeology dates the Sphinx to the reign of Pharaoh Khafre around 2500 BCE, not everyone is convinced that's the full story. The controversy begins with the Sphinx's erosion patterns. Unlike most ancient Egyptian monuments which show wear from wind and sand, the Sphinx bears deep, vertical grooves that closely resemble weathering caused by heavy rainfall, something the arid climate of Giza hasn't experienced in abundance for at least 7,000 years. Geologists like Robert Schoch argue this suggests the Sphinx could be far older than dynastic Egypt, possibly dating back to a time when the region was much wetter. If true, it would rewrite our understanding of who built it and why. Then there's the mystery of what lies beneath. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed anomalies, possible chambers or tunnels hidden below the Sphinx's pores and surrounding plateau. This has fueled long-standing speculation about a mythical hall of records, said to contain the lost knowledge of an advanced civilization. The idea traces back to ancient texts and even the writings of famed psychic Edgar Cayce, who claimed such a vault held wisdom from Atlantis. While no definitive proof has emerged, the Egyptian government has been notoriously hesitant to allow extensive excavation, adding another layer of intrigue. What's undeniable is the Sphinx's symbolic power. Its alignment with the rising sun during the equinoxes hints at astronomical significance, while its placement near the pyramids suggests it was more than just a statue, perhaps a spiritual sentinel or even a cosmic timekeeper. Whether it's a relic of a forgotten pre-pharaonic culture or an elaborate royal tribute, the Sphinx refuses to give up its secrets. And until those hidden chambers are fully explored, if ever, we're left to wonder, what else does this ancient giant know that we don't? Standing alone on the windswept Salisbury Plain, the massive stone circle of Stonehenge has captivated humanity for thousands of years. This prehistoric monument, built in stages between 3000 and 2000 BCE, consists of towering sarsen stones weighing up to 50 tons each, arranged with smaller bluestones in a pattern that still baffles researchers today. But what makes Stonehenge truly extraordinary isn't just its size, it's the precision with which it aligns with the cosmos. During the summer solstice, the rising sun perfectly strikes the heel stone, casting a long beam through the heart of the circle. And at the winter solstice, the setting sun aligns with the central altar stone, as if the entire structure was designed as a celestial calendar frozen in stone. The logistics of its construction are just as puzzling. The larger sarsen stones were likely dragged from quarries 20 miles away, while the smaller bluestones traveled an astonishing 150 miles from the Preseli Hills in Wales. How did Neolithic people move 50-ton boulders across such distances without wheels or heavy animals? Some theories suggest they used a combination of sledges, rollers, and rafts, while others propose glacial movements carried the stones partway before humans intervened. But even those explanations leave gaps, especially when considering how these stones were then lifted into place with such exactitude. The mortise and tenon joints holding the lintels atop the uprights reveal a sophistication in woodworking techniques that seems almost impossible for the time. Beyond its celestial alignment, Stonehenge's purpose remains hotly debated. Excavations have uncovered human remains, suggesting it may have been a burial ground for high-status individuals. Other evidence points to it being a place of healing, with the bluestones believed to possess mystical properties. Then there's the theory that it served as a vast astronomical observatory, tracking not just solstices but also lunar cycles and eclipses. The surrounding landscape adds another layer. Nearby Durrington Walls shows evidence of massive feasts, hinting that Stonehenge might have been part of a broader ritual complex, a gathering place where the living communed with the dead under the watchful eye of the heavens. What's undeniable is that Stonehenge was no accident. Its builders invested generations of labor and knowledge into its creation, a testament to their understanding of engineering, astronomy, and perhaps even the unseen forces they believed governed their world. Whether temple, tomb, or cosmic clock, this stone enigma continues to challenge our assumptions about the capabilities and motivations of ancient societies. And as each new discovery peels back another layer, we're reminded that some mysteries are meant to endure, whispering across millennia, refusing to be fully solved. Stretching between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, the Bermuda Triangle has long been a black hole of maritime and aerial mysteries, swallowing ships and planes without a trace. Since the mid-20th century, this patch of ocean has been blamed for over 50 disappearances, from vanishing cargo ships to entire squadrons of aircraft. But what really happens in these waters? Science offers some compelling explanations, though none can quite dispel the eerie allure of the triangle's legends. Take methane hydrates, for instance. Beneath the seafloor, vast deposits of this gas can erupt without warning, bubbling to the surface and reducing water density so drastically that ships lose buoyancy and sink in seconds. Laboratory tests confirm these sudden releases could explain some vanishings, but not all. Then there's the menace of rogue waves, towering walls of water reaching 100 feet high, capable of capsizing even the sturdiest vessels. Coupled with the region's notoriously unpredictable weather and the powerful Gulf Stream, which can swiftly carry debris miles from a wreck site, it's easy to see how the triangle became synonymous with danger. Yet no discussion of the Bermuda Triangle is complete without Flight 19, the squadron of 5 U.S. Navy bombers that vanished in December 1945 during a routine training mission. The final radio transmissions, reports of compasses spinning wildly and pilots claiming they couldn't tell which way was up, only deepened the enigma. Even the rescue plane sent to find them disappeared without a trace. Decades later, theories range from electromagnetic anomalies disrupting navigation to wartime mines lurking beneath the waves. But the lack of wreckage fuels darker speculation. Interdimensional portals, alien abductions, or even Atlantis's lost technology awakening beneath the ocean. Whether you lean toward geology or the supernatural, the Bermuda Triangle endures as a reminder of how much we still don't understand about our planet. It's a place where science and myth collide, where every plausible explanation still leaves room for wonder, and where the ocean keeps its secrets locked away beneath the waves. On a remote speck of land in the Pacific, over 2,000 miles from the nearest continent, stand the haunting stone sentinels known as the Moai. These colossal figures, carved from volcanic rock by the Rapa Nui people between the 13th and 16th centuries, are more than just statues. They're silent witnesses to a civilization's rise and fall. Some stand nearly 33 feet tall, weighing up to 80 tons, their solemn faces gazing inland as if guarding secrets lost to time. But how did a society with no metal tools or wheels create and move such massive monuments across rolling hills? The answer lies in a mix of ingenuity and sheer determination. Archaeologists believe the Moai were carved directly from the soft volcanic tuff at Rono-Roroku, the island's quarry, where nearly 400 unfinished statues still lie half-buried. Using basalt stone tools called toki, workers painstakingly chiseled the figures upright, then detached them from the bedrock before sliding them down slopes on ropes. But the real marvel comes next, transporting them across miles of rugged terrain. Recent experiments suggest the Rapa Nui may have used a rocking motion, walking the statues by shifting them side to side with ropes, a method that aligns with oral traditions describing the Moai moving with mana or spiritual power. Other theories propose wooden sledges or log rollers, though the island's eventual deforestation raises grim questions about sustainability. That deforestation sits at the heart of Easter Island's ecological tragedy. By the time Europeans arrived in 1722, the island was a shadow of its former self, its palm forests gone, its soil depleted, and its society fractured. Some researchers argue that the obsession with Moai construction drained resources, as trees were felled for transport and agriculture gave way to quarrying. Others point to invasive rats or climate shifts as contributing factors. Whatever the cause, the ecological collapse serves as a cautionary tale of resource depletion, one that echoes eerily in our modern world. Yet the Moai's purpose transcends their maker's fate. Most face inland, watching over villages rather than the sea, leading scholars to believe they represented deified ancestors, their presence a conduit between the living and the divine. The hollow eyes, once filled with coral and obsidian, may have been meant to see the community, offering protection or fertility. Recent discoveries even suggest the statue's placement aligns with freshwater sources, tying their spiritual role to survival in a fragile environment. Today, the Moai stand as both marvels and mysteries, monuments to human creativity and hubris. Their silent stares a reminder of what happens when ambition outpaces balance. They challenge us to ponder not just how they were made, but why, and what they might still teach us about our own relationship with the earth. Deep in the vast, sun-scorched expanse of Mauritania's Sahara Desert lies a geological oddity so massive it's visible from space, the Richat structure, often called the Eye of the Sahara. This sprawling, bull's-eye-shaped formation stretches nearly 30 miles across, its concentric rings of eroded rock resembling a giant's fingerprint pressed into the earth. Scientists long assumed it was an impact crater, but the absence of shocked quartz or melted rock debunked that theory. Instead, the Richat structure is now believed to be a symmetrical uplift, a dome of layered sedimentary rock sculpted over millions of years by wind and water. Yet for all its natural explanations, this hauntingly perfect circle has sparked a far more tantalizing idea. Could this be the final resting place of Atlantis? The Atlantis connection stems from Plato's ancient dialogues, where he described the lost kingdom as a circular city of alternating land and water rings, a layout eerily mirrored in the Richat's concentric ridges and depressions. Proponents of this theory point to its location just beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which some interpret as the Strait of Gibraltar, and its elevation, which matches Plato's account of a city sinking in a single day and night. Even more compelling are the scattered artifacts found nearby: stone tools, burial mounds, and the remnants of ancient lakes, suggesting the area was once habitable during the Green Sahara period, around 7,000 to 5,000 years ago. But skeptics counter with hard geology. The Richat's layers reveal a timeline stretching back to the Precambrian era, long before human civilization. Its formation aligns perfectly with natural erosional processes, and no evidence of large-scale ruins or artificial structures has been found within its rings. Yet the debate persists, fueled in part by the site's sheer mystique. From the ground, the structure's scale is disorienting, its ridges rising like ancient walls. From orbit, it stares back like an unblinking eye, as if guarding secrets buried beneath the sand. Whether natural wonder or lost city, the Richat structure challenges our perception of time and memory. It forces us to ask how much of history is still hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to see it. And if Atlantis was real, could its truth lie not beneath the ocean, but preserved in the slow, patient erosion of stone? Off the coast of Japan's Yonaguni Island, beneath the crystal-clear waters of the East China Sea, lies a formation that has divided experts for decades: the Yonaguni Monument. At first glance, this massive underwater structure appears as though it could be the remnants of an ancient city, with its flat, stepped terraces, sharp right angles, and what look like carved pillars and staircases. Discovered in 1986 by a local diver, the monument stretches over 200 feet long and nearly 90 feet tall, its geometric precision so striking that many believe it must be the work of human hands. But here's where the debate begins. Is this the sunken relic of a forgotten civilization, or merely a quirk of nature shaped by millennia of tectonic activity and erosion? Supporters of the man-made theory, like marine geologist Masaki Kimura, point to the monument's uncanny symmetry. The flat surfaces and near-perfect 90-degree angles resemble ceremonial platforms found in ancient cultures, particularly those of the Ryukyu kingdom, which once thrived in the region. Kimura even identifies what he believes to be carvings: a human face, a turtle-shaped rock, and a series of grooves that could have held wooden beams. Adding fuel to the fire, similar submerged structures have been found nearby, including what looks like a winding road and a stone circle, hinting at a broader, drowned architectural complex. If true, this could rewrite history, suggesting a sophisticated Pacific civilization predating known records by thousands of years. Yet skeptics, including prominent geologist Robert Schoch, argue that nature is more than capable of creating such illusions. The sandstone that forms Yonaguni's bedrock naturally fractures along straight lines due to tectonic stress, and the strong currents in the area could have eroded softer layers, leaving behind stepped formations. Even the so-called carvings might just be the result of coral growth and pitting. Schoch's most compelling point: there are no definitive artifacts, no pottery, tools, or inscriptions that would irrefutably tie the site to human activity. Without these, the monument remains in geological limbo, a Rorschach test for archaeologists and adventurers alike. What makes Yonaguni so fascinating is the way it blurs the line between the possible and the imagined. Local legends speak of a sunken city, and the monument's proximity to the notorious Dragon's Triangle, a region dubbed the Pacific Bermuda Triangle, due to its history of vanished ships, only deepens the mystery. Could this be a remnant of the mythical continent of Mu, a Pacific counterpart to Atlantis, or is it simply a stunning example of how geology can mimic human design? Until divers uncover concrete evidence, a tool, a script, a buried wall, Yonaguni will remain a tantalizing question mark beneath the waves, a testament to how little we still know about the secrets hidden in our oceans. High on the windswept Bolivian Altiplano, where the thin air hums with the whispers of an ancient past, stands the Gate of the Sun, a haunting relic of the enigmatic Tiwanaku civilization. Carved from a single block of andesite weighing nearly 10 tons, this towering monolith rises over 9 feet tall, its surface adorned with intricate bas-reliefs that seem to pulse with hidden meaning. At its center stares the imposing figure of Viracocha, the creator deity, flanked by 48 winged beings whose precise arrangement has puzzled scholars for centuries. Some see them as celestial attendants, others as a coded calendar counting the days of a forgotten cosmic cycle. But perhaps the most baffling aspect of this gateway isn't what's carved into it, it's where it stands and why. The prevailing theory suggests the Gate of the Sun served as an astronomical marker, its alignment tracking the solstices and equinoxes for a culture that revered the heavens. Yet here's the twist: when researchers measure its orientation against today's solar events, the alignment is off by several degrees. This discrepancy has led to a startling hypothesis: that Earth's axis may have shifted since the gate's creation around 1500 years ago, or that Tiwanaku's builders operated under a different celestial framework altogether. The implications are profound. If true, it hints at a sophisticated understanding of astronomy that accounted for planetary movements modern science only confirmed millennia later. Then there's the mystery of the gate's original purpose. Found broken and relocated by archaeologists, it likely once formed part of a grander structure, possibly a temple or ceremonial platform at the heart of Tiwanaku's spiritual life. The carving's repetitive geometric motifs, step patterns, zigzags, and rayed heads mirror designs found in Andean textiles, suggesting a visual language linking earth, sky, and the divine. Some researchers speculate the gate's central figure, Viracocha, isn't just a deity but a representation of the Milky Way, with the attendant figures marking star clusters or lunar cycles. But the enigma deepens when you consider the logistics. Andesite, the volcanic rock used for the gate, isn't native to the area. The nearest quarry lies over 50 miles away in the Andes, meaning this massive slab was transported across mountainous terrain without the use of wheels or draft animals. How Tiwanaku's builders likely employed a system of ramps, sledges, and sheer manpower, techniques that still strain modern understanding. Even more intriguing is the precision of the carvings, each line cut with such exactitude that it suggests specialized tools or techniques lost to time. Standing before the Gate of the Sun today, one can't help but feel the weight of its unanswered questions. Was it a portal for priests to commune with the gods, a stone encyclopedia of astronomical knowledge, or perhaps a warning, its misaligned stars signaling a cataclysm its builders foresaw but couldn't prevent? Unlike Egypt's pyramids or Peru's Nazca Lines, this monument refuses to fit neatly into any narrative. It stands instead as a silent challenge, daring us to decipher a world where stone spoke the language of the cosmos. Hidden beneath the quiet villages of Zhejiang province in China lies one of the most staggering underground mysteries of the ancient world, the Longyu Caves. Discovered by accident in 1992 when a local farmer drained a small pond, these caverns are no ordinary holes in the ground. They form an intricate man-made complex of 24 massive grottos, each one painstakingly carved from solid sandstone. The scale is almost incomprehensible. Some chambers stretch over 130 feet high, with pillars positioned so precisely they distribute the ceiling's weight like modern engineering feats. Yet what truly stuns researchers isn't just their size, it's what's missing. No records, no legends, not even a single scrap of historical documentation mentions their construction. It's as if 2,000 years ago, a civilization decided to hollow out a mountain in secret, then vanished without a trace. The walls tell their own cryptic story. Chisel marks cover every surface in a series of uniform parallel grooves, a signature of the tools used to carve them. But here's the puzzle. The spacing and precision of these grooves suggest a technique far beyond what archaeologists attribute to ancient China. With no evidence of soot or torch marks, how did workers illuminate these depths? How did they maintain such exact angles and symmetry without advanced measuring tools? Even more baffling are the acoustics. Certain chambers amplify whispers with eerie clarity, while others distort sound in ways that feel intentional. Was this a fluke of design, or were the caves engineered to manipulate sound for ritual or communication? Theories about their purpose range from the practical to the fantastical. Some scholars propose they were ancient quarries, though the effort to remove an estimated 1 million cubic meters of stone seems excessive for mere mining. Others suggest they served as imperial hiding places or secret military bunkers, but the lack of artifacts or structural adaptations for human habitation weakens this idea. Then there's the fringe theory that the caves align with celestial events or resonate at frequencies tied to spiritual practices, making them a sort of subterranean temple. What's undeniable is the ambition behind them. The labor required would have demanded thousands of workers over decades, yet no nearby settlements show signs of such a massive undertaking. No waste piles, no worker camps, no records of a project that would have rivaled the Great Wall. The Longyu Caves exist in a historical vacuum, challenging our assumptions about what ancient societies could or chose to conceal. Standing in their shadowed halls, you're left with one unsettling thought. Some secrets weren't meant to be found. Stretching across the Breton countryside in northwest France, the Karnak stones form one of the most mesmerizing and enigmatic prehistoric landscapes on Earth. Over 3,000 weathered megaliths stand in eerie, parallel rows that fan out across nearly 2.5 miles, some towering as high as 13 feet tall. These stones aren't scattered randomly, they're arranged with deliberate precision, clustered into three major groups known as Mainek, Kermario, and Kerleskan, each with its own distinct alignment. Walking among them feels like stepping into a giant's game board where the rules have long been forgotten. Dating back to around 4,500 BCE, these monoliths predate Stonehenge by over 1,000 years, yet their purpose remains just as elusive. One of the most striking theories suggests the Karnak stones functioned as an ancient seismic early warning system. Researchers note that the granite used for the megaliths contains high concentrations of quartz, a mineral known to generate electrical charges under mechanical stress, like the pressure of tectonic shifts. Some experiments have shown that standing near these stones during minor tremors can produce measurable electromagnetic anomalies, hinting that Neolithic societies might have used them to detect earthquakes long before modern instruments existed. Imagine a civilization so attuned to the earth that they could literally feel its vibrations through stone, but the astronomical angle is equally compelling. Many of the alignments point toward significant solar and lunar events, particularly the rising sun during the summer solstice. The sheer scale of the site, with rows stretching for acres, implies a level of celestial observation that rivals later Bronze Age monuments. Some archaeologists propose the stones acted as a colossal calendar, marking seasons for agricultural or ritual purposes. Others see them as a physical representation of cosmic order, a bridge between the earthly and the divine. Then there's the ritualistic interpretation. Local folklore whispers that the stones are a petrified Roman legion cursed by a sorcerer, a tale that, while fanciful, underscores their sacred aura. Excavations have revealed burial mounds and artifacts nearby, suggesting the site was part of a larger funerary complex. The alignment of certain stones with burial chambers hints at a spiritual journey where the dead were guided by these silent sentinels into the afterlife. What's perhaps most baffling is the logistics of their construction. Each stone weighs multiple tons, yet they were transported from quarries miles away without the wheel or domesticated animals. The effort would have required coordinated labor on a massive scale, raising questions about the social organization of Neolithic Brittany. Were these the work of a centralized authority or a communal project spanning generations? The Karnak stones refuse to yield their secrets easily. They stand as a testament to a time when humanity's relationship with the land was intimate, almost conversational, a dialogue carved in stone. Whether as earthquake detectors, cosmic maps, or sacred pathways, their true meaning may lie just beyond our grasp, buried in the quiet wisdom of those who shaped them. And in that mystery, they challenge us to listen, not just with tools and theories, but with imagination. Rising from the grasslands of southern Africa, the towering stone walls of Great Zimbabwe stand as a silent rebuke to centuries of colonial denial. This sprawling complex, built between the 11th and 15th centuries, was once the heart of a thriving kingdom, a hub of gold and ivory trade that stretched from the Swahili coast to Arabia and beyond. Its very existence shattered racist myths that Africa had no history of monumental architecture, yet for decades, European explorers refused to believe locals could have built it. Some claimed it was the work of Phoenicians or the biblical Queen of Sheba, clinging to any explanation except the truth that this was the achievement of a sophisticated African civilization. The scale of Great Zimbabwe is staggering. Its signature structure, the Great Enclosure, features walls 32 feet high and 17 feet thick, built without mortar yet so precisely fitted that they've endured 700 years of weathering. The conical tower, standing 30 feet tall, remains an enigma. Some say it was a granary, others a symbolic representation of royal authority. What's certain is the city's wealth. Artifacts found here include Chinese porcelain, Persian glass, and Arabian coins, evidence of trade networks that defied continental boundaries. The kingdom's gold mines fueled its prosperity, with ingots traded as far as Kilwa-Kisiwani, where archaeologists have unearthed Zimbabwean gold in ruins halfway up the East African coast. But perhaps the greatest mystery isn't how great Zimbabwe rose, it's why it fell. By the mid-15th century, the city was abandoned, its people dispersing into smaller settlements. Climate data suggests a prolonged drought may have strained resources, while some theories point to overpopulation or political shifts. Yet there's no evidence of invasion or catastrophe, just a gradual fading. The stones, however, refuse to fade. They stand as a testament to a civilization that mastered engineering, astronomy, the site's alignments track solstices, and global commerce long before European ships rounded the Cape. Today, Great Zimbabwe's legacy is twofold: a monument to African ingenuity and a warning about how easily history can be rewritten to serve prejudice. Its silent walls ask us to question whose stories we valorize and whose we've erased. Deep in the mist-shrouded highlands of northern Laos lies a landscape that feels equal parts sacred and surreal, the Plain of Jars. Spread across rolling hills and tangled forests, thousands of massive stone vessels, some towering nearly 10 feet tall and weighing several tons, stand in silent clusters as if waiting for some ancient ritual to resume. Carved from sandstone and granite between 500 BCE and 500 CE, these jars have baffled archaeologists for decades who carved them. How were they transported across such rugged terrain, and most hauntingly, what were they for? The leading theory suggests they served as funeral urns. Excavations have uncovered human remains, burial goods, and ceramic jars inside and around the megalithic vessels, pointing to a complex mortuary tradition. Some researchers believe bodies were placed inside the jars to decompose before the bones were later cremated or buried, a practice still seen in parts of Southeast Asia today. But not all the jars show signs of funerary use. A few contain no remains at all, while others hold miniature Buddha statues placed centuries after their creation, hinting at shifting cultural meanings over time. The mystery deepens when you consider the stone discs found nearby, some carved with human figures or symbols that might represent clan markings or star maps. Then there's the logistical puzzle. The jar sandstone was quarried from mountains miles away, yet the builders left no traces of roads, sledges, or tools to explain their transport. Some locals whisper that giants crafted them, while archaeologists speculate about river networks that may have since dried up. Even more perplexing is their distribution, grouped in tight clusters in some areas, scattered loosely in others, as if following a hidden pattern tied to the land itself. But exploring the Plain of Jars carries a grim modern danger: unexploded ordnance. During the secret war of the 1960s and 70s, the area endured heavy bombing, leaving the landscape littered with live munitions. Today, less than 10% of the jar sites have been fully cleared, restricting access to these ancient wonders. It's a stark reminder of how history's layers collide, where prehistoric mysteries lie entwined with the scars of recent conflict. Standing among these silent stone sentinels, you're left to wonder: were they markers for the dead, vessels for the living, or something we've yet to imagine? Their creators left no written records, only these hollowed-out stones, their purpose as elusive as the mist that drifts through the Lao Highlands. And perhaps that's the point: some legacies aren't meant to be decoded, only felt. Off the coast of modern-day Gujarat, beneath the turquoise waves of the Arabian Sea, lies a discovery that blurs the line between myth and history: the sunken ruins of Dwarka. According to ancient Hindu texts like the Mahabharata, Dwarka was a dazzling city of gold, built by the god Krishna himself on land reclaimed from the sea. The scriptures describe its eventual fate with eerie prescience. As Krishna departed from earth, the ocean swallowed Dwarka whole, leaving only legends behind. For centuries, scholars dismissed this as poetic allegory until marine archaeologists began pulling artifacts from the seabed that matched the descriptions with uncanny precision. Diving teams have uncovered massive stone walls, intricate pottery, and even submerged structures resembling a grand gateway, all resting at depths consistent with ancient sea level rise. Carbon dating places these ruins between 3,200 and 3,500 years old, aligning perfectly with the traditional timeline of Krishna's Dwarka. The most striking find, a stone anchor with a triangular hole, identical to those described in the Mahabharata as used by the city's ships. These aren't random debris, they form a grid-like pattern suggesting urban planning, with straight-lined foundations that mirror the text's account of Dwarka's well-arranged streets and moats. But the controversy lies in interpretation. Mainstream archaeologists caution that while the underwater structures are undoubtedly man-made, linking them definitively to Krishna's city requires more evidence. The ruins could belong to an important Harappan-era port later mythologized, a common phenomenon in ancient cultures, yet the parallels are hard to ignore. The Mahabharata specifies Dwarka's location at the confluence of the Gomati River and the sea, matching today's Gulf of Kutch. It even mentions a Sudarshana chakra-shaped island nearby, which divers have identified as Bet Dwarka, where more submerged structures and artifacts continue to surface. What makes Dwarka's case unique is the convergence of archaeology and oral tradition. Unlike Atlantis, which exists solely in Plato's dialogues, Dwarka's description appears in multiple Hindu texts with consistent details. The number of gates, the layout of palaces, even the material of its famed golden towers. Recent sonar scans reveal a sprawling complex covering nearly half a square mile, with geometric formations that defy natural explanations. For believers, each discovery is a validation of faith. For scientists, it's a rare chance to study how legends preserve geological truths. The debate may never be fully settled, but Dwarka's underwater ruins offer something more valuable than answers a tangible connection to humanity's collective memory. They remind us that beneath the waves of time, history and myth often share the same foundations. Whether the remains of Krishna's city or a lost civilization that inspired it, these silent stones whisper a tantalizing possibility that some stories endure because they were true all along. In the heart of Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, the ruins of Baalbek stand as a testament to both Roman ambition and an engineering mystery that defies easy explanation. Here, amid the towering columns of the Jupiter Temple, lies a puzzle carved in stone, the so-called Stone of the Pregnant Woman, a single block weighing nearly 1,000 tons. To put that in perspective, it's heavier than 3 fully loaded Boeing 747 jets. And it's just one of several megaliths at the site, some reaching lengths of 64 feet, all precisely fitted together without mortar. The Romans, who built the temple complex 2,000 years ago, left no blueprints or journals explaining how they managed such a feat. But the sheer scale of these stones forces us to ask, did they inherit even older secrets buried beneath their foundations? Archaeologists have long assumed the Romans used a combination of pulleys, cranes, and slave labor to move these monoliths from nearby quarries. Yet experiments with reconstructed Roman technology reveal troubling gaps. Even their most advanced lifting devices, like the treadwheel crane, could barely handle a quarter of the weight. Some scholars speculate the blocks were dragged on wooden sledges greased with olive oil, but the logistics strain credibility. How do you maintain control of a 1,000-ton slab on a slope, let alone position it with millimeter precision? The quarries themselves deepen the mystery. The Stone of the Pregnant Woman still lies in its extraction pit, partially detached from the bedrock, as if the builders abandoned it mid-process. Nearby, 2 even larger blocks, one weighing an almost inconceivable 1,650 tons, suggest the Romans were planning something even grander. But here's where the plot thickens. Beneath the Roman temple platform lie older megaliths, some fitted together in a polygonal style that predates classical techniques by millennia. These foundational stones, some weighing 800 tons, form a wall so precisely cut that not even a razor blade can slip between the seams. Local legends speak of a race of giants who built the original structure, while alternative researchers point to advanced ancient technologies, harmonic vibration, anti-gravity devices, or even lost knowledge from pre-Diluvian civilizations. Mainstream historians dismiss these ideas, yet they struggle to offer a definitive alternative. The Romans were master builders, but Baalbek's megaliths push the limits of what we believe possible for their era. Perhaps the most compelling clue lies in the stones themselves. The limestone used at Baalbek has a unique crystalline structure that makes it slightly easier to shape than other rocks, but only if you know how to exploit its natural fracture lines. Could the builders have used fire or vinegar to weaken the stone before quarrying? Or did they possess an understanding of leverage and balance that's since been forgotten? The truth may be simpler, yet no less awe-inspiring. Recent studies suggest the Romans might have employed a slow, methodical process of incremental lifting, raising the blocks inch by inch over months using wooden cribbing and counterweights, turning impossibility into a matter of patience. Standing before these stones, you're left with two equally humbling realizations. Either we've underestimated the ingenuity of ancient engineers, or there are chapters of human history still missing from our textbooks. Baalbek doesn't just challenge our assumptions about the past, it dares us to rethink what we're capable of today. Perched on a windswept hill in southeastern Turkey, Göbekli Tepe shatters everything we thought we knew about the dawn of civilization. Dated to around 9,600 BCE, 7,000 years before Stonehenge, this sprawling complex of circular enclosures and towering limestone pillars rewrites history. Its discovery in the 1990s sent shockwaves through archaeology because here's the twist, it was built by hunter-gatherers. That fact alone turns conventional wisdom on its head. We've long assumed that monumental architecture required settled farming societies, but Göbekli Tepe proves otherwise. Its creators hadn't yet domesticated wheat or livestock. They roamed, foraged, and somehow still carved, transported, and erected 20-ton stones with mind-bending precision. The site's most striking features are its T-shaped pillars, some standing 16 feet tall, adorned with intricate reliefs of animals, snakes, foxes, scorpions, and birds frozen in motion. These aren't random decorations. Many researchers believe they form a symbolic language, a menagerie of spiritual guardians or clan totems. The pillars' humanoid shape, narrow heads atop broad bodies, hints at ancestor worship, while the enclosure's careful alignment suggests celestial observations. One pillar even depicts a vulture holding a human head, a scene eerily reminiscent of later Neolithic sky burial practices. But Göbekli Tepe's greatest riddle isn't its construction, it's its burial. Around 8,000 BCE, someone deliberately filled the entire site with tons of soil and rubble, preserving it like a time capsule. Why? Some theorize it was ritual decommissioning, a sacred act to retire the temple as beliefs evolved. Others point to climate shifts. The Younger Dryas period's abrupt cooling may have forced people to abandon the site. There's even a provocative minority view that the burial was an act of forgetting, a conscious break with the past by a society transitioning to agriculture, leaving their hunter-gatherer roots literally buried. What's undeniable is Göbekli Tepe's revolutionary implications. If hunter-gatherers could organize such labor-intensive projects, perhaps religion, not agriculture, was the spark that ignited civilization. The site's location at the northern edge of the Fertile Crescent, where wheat was first domesticated, raises another tantalizing possibility. Did the need to feed Göbekli Tepe's builders and pilgrims drive the invention of farming? Archaeology may never prove causation, but the timing is uncanny. Standing among these silent, animal-covered pillars, you're left with a humbling thought. Humanity's first temple wasn't built by kings or priests, but by nomads who looked at the raw landscape and saw something worth carving into eternity. Its burial preserved more than stones, it safeguarded a mystery, challenging us to rethink where civilization truly began. High above the ancient city of Cusco, Peru, the fortress of Sacsayhuaman looms like a stone puzzle defying time itself. Its walls, built by the Inca in the 15th century, showcase a masonry technique so precise that modern engineers still scratch their heads. Massive limestone blocks, some weighing over 300 tons, fit together without mortar, yet not even a sheet of paper can slide between their seams. The curves and angles of each stone interlock like pieces of a three-dimensional jigsaw, creating undulating walls that have withstood centuries of earthquakes. But how did a civilization without iron tools or the wheel achieve such perfection? One persistent theory suggests the Inca possessed a method for softening stone. Spanish chroniclers recorded indigenous accounts of a plant-based liquid that made rock pliable, almost like clay. While no such substance has been identified, geologists note that some Andean plants contain acids that could slightly dissolve limestone surface. Experiments with oxalic acid found in rhubarb leaves show it can soften rock enough to shape it with wooden tools. But this doesn't fully explain the megaliths Chinese letter. Moving 100-ton blocks from quarries miles away would have required ingenious engineering. Some scholars propose the Inca used log rollers and earthen ramps, while Quechua oral traditions speak of stones walking to their destinations with the help of ropes and rhythmic pulling, a technique demonstrated in recent experiments where volunteers moved multi-ton stones by rocking them side to side. Then there's the precision cutting. The stone's edges aren't just straight, they're subtly convex or concave to create friction locks, a technique called ashlar masonry. This design isn't merely aesthetic, it's seismic genius. During earthquakes, the interlocking stones shift slightly without collapsing, then settle back into place. Some researchers believe the Inca used trial and error fitting, chiseling each block incrementally until it matched its neighbor. Others point to the possibility of advanced measuring tools, perhaps templates or pendulum-based devices to gauge angles. But the most tantalizing clue lies in the quarry marks. At nearby sites like Ollantaytambo, unfinished blocks bear strange grooves and protrusions that resemble modern construction aids. What if these were handles for ropes or leverage points? The debate rages on, with some even speculating about lost technologies or acoustic levitation. Whatever the truth, Sacsayhuaman stands as a testament to a civilization that turned stone into poetry, leaving behind walls that whisper of knowledge we've yet to reclaim. In the scorching desert plains of California near the Colorado River, the blithe intaglios stretch across the arid landscape like whispers from an ancient past. These massive geoglyphs, etched into the earth by Native American tribes between 1,000 and 3,000 years ago, depict human figures, animals, and geometric shapes so large they can only be fully appreciated from the air. The largest of these figures, often referred to as the giant, measures a staggering 167 feet from head to toe, roughly the length of 5 school buses lined up end to end. Nearby, a coiled serpent and a 4-legged creature some believe to be a mountain lion sprawl across the desert floor, their outlines created by carefully scraping away the dark surface pebbles to reveal the lighter soil beneath. What makes these desert drawings so intriguing is their eerie resemblance to Peru's Nazca Lines, despite being created by cultures separated by thousands of miles and centuries. Like Nazca, the blithe intaglios raise the same tantalizing question: why create art meant to be seen from above in an era long before human flight? Some anthropologists suggest these figures held celestial significance, possibly acting as ritual sites or pathways for ceremonial dances during solstice events. Others theorize they were territorial markers or clan symbols, meant to communicate identity to neighboring groups. The human figures, with their outstretched arms and distinct headdresses, bear a striking similarity to petroglyphs found throughout the Southwest, hinting at shared cultural motifs among indigenous peoples of the region. Yet the blithe intaglios nearly vanished from memory. For centuries, they lay unnoticed under layers of drifting sand until their rediscovery in the 1930s by a pilot flying over the area. Unlike the Nazca Lines, which were preserved by a desert climate with almost no rainfall, the blithe geoglyphs suffered from erosion and human interference. Ruts from off-road vehicles and careless foot traffic have damaged some of the designs, prompting preservation efforts to protect these fragile remnants of indigenous heritage. Perhaps the most haunting aspect of the blithe intaglios is how little we know about their creators' intentions. The Quechan and Mojave peoples who have inhabited this land for generations maintain oral traditions that may hold clues, but much of the original meaning has been lost to time. Were these figures meant to honor ancestors, summon spirits, or map the constellations above? The desert keeps its secrets close, leaving us only with these silent, sprawling images, testaments to a time when the earth itself was a canvas for stories we're still learning to read. Beneath the crystal-clear waters off Cuba's western coast lies a discovery that blurs the line between geology and legend. In 2001, a team of researchers mapping the ocean floor stumbled upon something extraordinary. A series of symmetrical structures resting nearly 2,000 feet below the surface. Sonar images revealed what appear to be massive stone formations, some resembling pyramids, others stretching into long, geometric avenues like the ruins of a submerged city. The largest of these structures measures roughly the size of 2 football fields, with smooth, angular sides that seem too precise to be the work of nature alone. Could these be the remnants of an ancient civilization lost to rising seas, or is the ocean playing tricks on us with its rocky illusions? The debate hinges on a single, tantalizing question: how do natural processes form something that looks so deliberately designed? Geologists point to the region's complex tectonic activity, suggesting these formations could be rare examples of megabrexias, massive blocks of limestone fractured and rearranged by underwater landslides over millions of years. The Gulf of Mexico's seabed is no stranger to strange shapes. Currents and erosion can carve uncanny geometries into rock. Yet skeptics of the natural formation theory highlight the sheer scale and alignment of the structures. The pyramids appear oriented along cardinal directions, and some even seem to mirror the step designs of Mesoamerican temples like those built by the Maya or the Aztecs. If nature crafted these, it did so with an eerily architectural flair. Adding fuel to the mystery are local legends. Indigenous Taino oral histories speak of a catastrophic flood that swallowed their ancestral lands, a story echoed in Maya texts describing a great civilization sinking beneath the waves. Even Plato's account of Atlantis places the lost city somewhere beyond the Pillars of Hercules, often interpreted as the Strait of Gibraltar, putting Cuba's underwater structures uncomfortably close to the imagined coordinates. Could these sonar images be the first physical evidence of a myth long dismissed as fantasy? Diving deeper into the controversy, researchers face a frustrating limitation: the extreme depth. At over half a mile down, investigating the site requires specialized equipment far beyond standard archaeological tools. A handful of robotic submersibles have captured murky footage of the structures, but without hands-on exploration or recovered artifacts, the evidence remains circumstantial. Some argue that until we can bring up a carved stone or a clearly man-made artifact, the formations should be classified as fascinating curiosities rather than proof of a sunken city. Yet the implications are too compelling to ignore. If human hands did shape these stones, they would have had to do so when sea levels were dramatically lower, placing their construction at the end of the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago. That timeline aligns with fringe theories about advanced prehistoric cultures, but it contradicts mainstream archaeology's understanding of when large-scale construction first emerged. The underwater city of Cuba, real or not, forces us to confront the gaps in our knowledge. How much of humanity's past is still hidden beneath the waves, waiting for the right technology or the right storm to reveal it? For now, the structures remain enigmas wrapped in seawater and speculation, daring us to reconsider what might have once thrived where only fish now swim. Buried in the humid jungles of Mexico's Gulf Coast, the Olmec colossal heads stand as silent, stoic guardians of a civilization that vanished over 2,000 years ago. Carved from single blocks of volcanic basalt, these massive sculptures tower up to 11 feet tall and weigh as much as 40 tons, each one bearing a strikingly individual face, complete with furrowed brows, full lips, and flattened noses. Their features have sparked decades of debate, with some scholars noting what appear to be distinctly African facial traits. This observation has fueled controversial theories about transatlantic contact long before Columbus, though mainstream archaeology attributes the resemblance to the Olmec's own diverse physiognomy or stylistic exaggeration. But the real enigma isn't just who these heads depict, it's how they got there in the first place. The stone used for these monoliths wasn't local. Geologists trace the basalt to the Tuxtla Mountains, over 50 miles away from the Olmec heartland at sites like La Venta and San Lorenzo. That means the Olmecs, who flourished between 1500 and 400 BCE, somehow transported 40-ton boulders through swamps, rivers, and dense rainforest without wheels, pack animals, or metal tools. The prevailing theory suggests they used a combination of log rollers, rafts, and sheer manpower, leveraging the region's network of waterways. But even with these methods, the logistics boggle the mind. Imagine coordinating hundreds of workers to haul a single head along muddy trails, using ropes made from fibrous plants, with no modern pulleys or levers to ease the burden. The process would have required not just physical strength, but an extraordinary level of social organization, proof that the Olmecs, often called Mesoamerica's mother culture, were far more advanced than their timeline suggests. Adding to the intrigue is the question of identity. Most archaeologists believe the heads portray Olmec rulers, their helmets resembling those worn in ceremonial ball games. Yet the absence of inscriptions leaves room for speculation. Could they represent deified ancestors, enemy chiefs, or even mythological figures? The fact that some heads were deliberately buried, possibly as part of ritual deaths, hints at a deeper symbolic meaning. At La Venta, 4 heads were arranged in a line facing outward, like sentinels guarding a sacred space. This deliberate placement suggests they weren't just artistic displays but active participants in the Olmec's spiritual landscape. What truly sets these sculptures apart is their raw humanity. Unlike the idealized gods of later Mesoamerican cultures, the Olmec heads exude personality, some scowling, others serene, each with unique ear ornaments and headdresses that might denote rank or lineage. Their craftsmanship reveals intimate knowledge of basalt's properties, from the subtle dimpling of cheeks to the precise undercutting of chins. This wasn't crude work. It was the product of generations of sculptural expertise passed down without written records. Today, the colossal heads remain a testament to a civilization that defies easy categorization. They challenge our assumptions about ancient technology, cultural exchange, and artistic expression. Whether depicting kings or gods, they bridge the gap between the tangible and the mysterious, reminding us that some of history's most profound answers are still carved in stone, waiting to be unearthed. For centuries, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon have been celebrated as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, a lush, tiered paradise of exotic plants and cascading water, built by King Nebuchadnezzar II to soothe his homesick wife. Yet despite their fame, not a single shred of physical evidence has ever been found to confirm they existed in Babylon. No ruins, no inscriptions, not even a single contemporary account from Babylonian sources. So where does this enduring legend come from, and could it have been misplaced in history all along? The primary descriptions of the gardens come from later Greek historians like Strabo and Diodorus Siculus, writing centuries after Babylon's heyday. Their vivid accounts describe an engineering marvel: terraces supported by stone columns, intricate irrigation systems pumping water from the Euphrates, and trees whose roots hung in the air. But here's the catch: Babylon's arid climate and flat terrain make such a feat unlikely without advanced technology. The region's soil was poorly suited for deep-rooted plants, and the logistical challenge of lifting water to lofty heights would have required machinery far beyond what's documented in Babylonian records. This glaring absence has led some scholars to propose a radical theory. The Hanging Gardens weren't in Babylon at all, but in Nineveh, the capital of the Assyrian Empire. Archaeologist Stephanie Daly points to ancient texts describing King Sennacherib's palace gardens, complete with an elaborate system of aqueducts and screws to lift water, a technology explicitly mentioned in his inscriptions. Even more compelling is a bas-relief from Nineveh showing a lush garden on a terraced mound, strikingly similar to the Greek descriptions. Could later historians have confused the two cities, merging Assyrian achievements with Babylon's legendary prestige? Then there's the political angle. Babylon and Nineveh were bitter rivals, with Babylon eventually sacking Assyria's capital. Over time, as Babylon grew in fame, perhaps its scribes appropriated Nineveh's wonders as their own. The Greeks, writing centuries later, might have inherited this blurred tradition. Without physical proof, the gardens remain suspended between fact and folklore, a testament to how easily history can be reshaped by time and triumph. Whether real or imagined, the Hanging Gardens endure as a symbol of humanity's eternal desire to conquer nature, one verdant paradise at a time. High on the windswept Bolivian Altiplano, where the thin air hums with forgotten secrets, lies one of the most perplexing archaeological sites on Earth, Puma Punku. Part of the larger Tiwanaku complex, this ancient temple complex doesn't just challenge our understanding of pre-Columbian engineering, it outright defies it. Scattered across the site are hundreds of shattered stone blocks, some weighing over 100 tons, carved with geometric precision so exact it rivals modern machining. Among the most baffling are the so-called H-shaped blocks, each featuring identical notches, grooves, and drill holes spaced with micrometer consistency. These aren't rough-hewn stones, they're modular components interlocking like pieces of a colossal puzzle, except we've lost the instructions. The precision is staggering. Many blocks exhibit smooth, flawless surfaces cut at perfect right angles, with interior channels so straight and uniform they appear laser-cut. Some stones feature tapered drill holes that maintain a consistent diameter through their entire length, a feat nearly impossible to achieve without advanced rotary tools. Yet according to conventional timelines, Puma Punku was constructed around 500 CE by the Tiwanaku culture, who supposedly relied on stone and bronze tools. Replicating these cuts with traditional methods proves maddeningly difficult. Experiments using period-appropriate tools leave jagged edges and uneven depths, nothing like the surgical precision on display here. Then there's the stone itself. The builders used two materials, red sandstone and andesite, a volcanic rock harder than granite. The andesite blocks in particular bear the most intricate work, suggesting the Tiwanaku possessed techniques to shape one of Earth's toughest stones with what seems like effortless mastery. Modern engineers struggle to explain how they achieved such finishes without diamonds or industrial abrasives. Some theorists point to lost technologies like ultrasonic drilling or stone softening plant extracts mentioned in local legends. Others propose the use of quartz-rich sand as a natural abrasive, though this still doesn't account for the mathematical uniformity of the designs. But Puma Punku's greatest riddle isn't just how it was built, it's what destroyed it. The site resembles a battlefield of shattered megaliths, as if some unimaginable force ripped the structures apart from within. The blocks aren't merely collapsed, they're explosively displaced, some flung hundreds of feet from their original positions. Geologists confirm the damage exceeds what earthquakes or erosion could produce. Indigenous Aymara legends speak of a catastrophic event involving sky fire, while fringe researchers speculate about plasma discharges or even ancient weaponry. The more mundane explanation, a massive seismic event, doesn't fully explain the localized violence of the destruction or the absence of similar damage at nearby sites. What emerges from the rubble is a portrait of a civilization that mastered stone like no other, only to have their work obliterated by forces we're still struggling to comprehend. Puma Punku doesn't just ask us to rethink ancient technology, it forces us to confront the possibility that some chapters of human innovation were so advanced, their remnants look like magic to us today. And in that realization, the site's true power emerges not as a ruin, but as a warning. In the parched silence of California's Death Valley, where temperatures soar past 120 degrees and the cracked earth stretches endlessly, something impossible happens. Rocks, some weighing hundreds of pounds, slide across the flat expanse of racetrack playa, leaving long, meandering trails behind them as if they've been dragged by invisible hands. For decades, these sailing stones fueled wild theories, magnetic anomalies, alien interventions, or even supernatural forces at play. But the truth, uncovered by a team of patient scientists, is both simpler and more extraordinary than fiction. The mystery unraveled thanks to a combination of time-lapse photography and sheer luck. Researchers discovered that during rare winter nights, when temperatures plummet, shallow pools of rainwater freeze into thin sheets of ice. As the sun rises, this ice begins to crack under the desert's harsh glare, breaking into floating panels that, with the help of gentle winds, push the rocks across the slick clay beneath. The movement is agonizingly slow, mere inches per minute, but over hours or days, it's enough to carve trails that can stretch hundreds of feet. What seemed like magic was really a delicate dance of physics. Just the right thickness of ice, just the right breeze, and just the right tilt of the playa's surface. But the sailing stones aren't just a lesson in natural mechanics, they're a testament to patience. Some rocks sit motionless for years, waiting for the perfect alignment of conditions. Others might move once in a decade, their journeys brief but dramatic. The trails they leave behind aren't straight, they curve, zigzag, or even loop back on themselves, revealing the whims of wind and ice in real time. And while the scientific explanation demystifies the phenomenon, it doesn't diminish the wonder. If anything, knowing how it happens makes the stone's silent journeys even more mesmerizing. What's remarkable is how long the secret held. Indigenous communities likely understood the process long before modern science caught up, but for outsiders, the stones became a riddle wrapped in desert heat. Early explorers spun tales of cursed grounds or living rocks, while later visitors, armed with cameras and GPS, sought to document the impossible. It wasn't until 2013 that researchers finally captured the movement on film, confirming a theory that had been floated since the 1940s. The footage showing ice sheets shoving rocks like ghostly hands was as satisfying as it was surreal. Yet even with the mystery solved, the sailing stones retain an air of quiet magic. They remind us that nature's most baffling spectacles often have rational explanations, but that doesn't make them any less extraordinary. In a world where we're accustomed to instant answers, Death Valley's sliding rocks teach a different lesson. Some truths reveal themselves only when we're willing to watch and wait for the ice to crack just right. Beneath the sun-baked plains of Cappadocia in Turkey, the earth hides an astonishing secret, an entire underground city stretching 18 stories deep, large enough to shelter 20,000 people for months at a time. This is Derinkuyu, a labyrinth of tunnels, chambers, and ventilation shafts carved entirely by hand from soft volcanic rock over 2,000 years ago. Walking through its dimly lit corridor, you'll find everything a hidden society would need. Stables for livestock, churches for worship, communal kitchens, wine cellars, even intricate systems to collect fresh water from underground springs. But the most remarkable feature isn't its scale, it's the precision of its design. 52 ventilation shafts, some plunging over 200 feet downward, ensured fresh air reached every level, while massive circular stone doors, each weighing up to 1,000 pounds, could seal off entire sections in an instant. This wasn't just a shelter, it was a fortress beneath the earth, built to withstand sieges, invasions, or worse. the question of who built Derinkuyu and wide divides historians. Some attribute it to the Phrygians around the 8th century BCE, while others point to early Christians fleeing Roman persecution. What's certain is that it wasn't the work of a single generation. The city's layers reveal centuries of expansion, with older chambers repurposed and new tunnels dug as needed. But the sheer ambition suggests more than just a refuge for persecuted minorities. The Hittites, who ruled this region before the Phrygians, left records of underground settlements, and local folklore speaks of ancient peoples hiding from sky-borne dangers, a phrase that sparked theories about comet impacts or even aerial warfare in antiquity. Then there's the mystery of coordination. Derinkuyu isn't alone. Over 200 underground cities honeycomb Cappadocia, many connected by miles of tunnels. The largest, Kamakli, lies just 6 miles away, and evidence suggests they formed a network, allowing populations to shift between them during crises. How did prehistoric societies organize such colossal projects without blueprints or central authority? The rock itself offers clues. The region's soft, tough stone is easy to carve but hardens when exposed to air, making it ideal for tunneling. Yet, even with ideal geology, the logistics boggle the mind. Workers would have needed to remove millions of cubic feet of debris, all by hand, without modern tools or measurement systems. What were they hiding from? The most plausible answer points to waves of invaders, Persians, Macedonians, Arab armies that swept through Anatolia over millennia. But some researchers propose darker possibilities. Ancient texts describe Cappadocia as a land of fire and subterranean rivers, hinting at volcanic activity or toxic gas leaks that might have driven people underground. Others note the city's alignment with astrological events, suggesting ceremonial purposes alongside defensive ones. The truth may lie in layers, much like Derinkuyu itself, each level holding fragments of a story we're still piecing together. Standing in its shadowed passages today, you can almost hear the echoes of those who once thrived here. The scrape of tools against stone, the murmur of hidden rituals, the muffled tension of a community waiting for the all-clear. Derinkuyu isn't just a relic, it's a testament to human resilience, a reminder that when threats loom above, we've always found ways to dig deeper. And perhaps that's the most unsettling thought of all, that this city, built for survival, might one day be needed again. Deep in the heart of the Amazon rainforest, where the soil is notoriously thin and nutrient-poor, lies a startling contradiction: patches of dark, fertile earth so rich they can grow crops without modern fertilizers. Known as terra preta, or black earth, these mysterious plots stand in stark contrast to the surrounding acidic, exhausted soil, their unnatural fertility sparking debate about whether they're accidental byproducts of ancient habitation or deliberate masterworks of forgotten agricultural genius. Some stretches contain pottery shards and charcoal, suggesting human activity, while others show no visible signs of intervention, just soil so packed with organic matter and nutrients that it remains productive for centuries without depletion. What makes terra preta truly baffling is its composition. Unlike typical Amazonian soil, which struggles to retain nutrients due to constant rain and heat, these patches are teeming with microorganisms and stable carbon compounds that resist decomposition. Researchers have identified high concentrations of biochar, charcoal produced through low oxygen burning mixed with bone fragments, manure, and other organic waste. This combination creates a self-sustaining ecosystem underground, where microbes thrive and plants flourish without modern inputs. Modern attempts to replicate terra preta's properties fall short, lacking the precise balance of ingredients and microbial communities that ancient Amazonians seemingly perfected. The scale of these patches hints at something even more profound. Scattered across thousands of square miles, some spanning hundreds of acres, they form a patchwork that suggests widespread, coordinated land management. Satellite imagery reveals patterns aligning with ancient settlements. challenging the long-held myth of the Amazon as a pristine wilderness untouched by large-scale human influence. Could these fertile islands be the remnants of a vast, sophisticated civilization that transformed the rainforest into a breadbasket? One compelling theory points to the pre-Columbian peoples who flourished here before European contact. Indigenous oral histories describe ancestors who fed the earth, and archaeological finds like the sprawling network of geoglyphs and mound villages uncovered in recent decades support the idea of dense populations sustaining themselves through advanced agroforestry. Terra preta may have been their legacy, a deliberate enhancement of the land to support urban centers that rivaled contemporary European cities in size. Yet skeptics argue that these patches could be accidental, the result of centuries of seasonal burning and waste accumulation around villages. Without written records, the line between purposeful engineering and gradual adaptation blurs. The answer might lie in between a mix of trial and error practices refined over generations into something resembling an ancient science. What's undeniable is terra preta's potential. In a world grappling with soil degradation and climate change, these patches offer clues to sustainable agriculture that could revolutionize farming in marginal lands. They remind us that the Amazon wasn't just a backdrop for human survival, but a canvas shaped by hands we're only beginning to understand. And beneath that dark, fertile soil lies a question. If ancient peoples could turn exhaustion into abundance, what else did they know that we've yet to rediscover? At the bottom of the Aegean Sea, encrusted in the wreckage of a 2,000-year-old Roman ship, divers made a discovery that would rewrite the history of technology. What they first mistook for a lump of corroded bronze turned out to be the most sophisticated mechanical artifact of the ancient world, the Antikythera mechanism. This intricate device, no larger than a shoebox, contained a maze of interlocking bronze gears so precise they could predict lunar eclipses, track the cycles of athletic games, and model the irregular motions of planets across the zodiac. It wasn't just a tool, it was a miniature cosmos in a box, a mechanical embodiment of celestial knowledge that wouldn't be matched for another 1,000 years. The genius of the mechanism lies in its differential gears, a technology previously believed to have been invented in the 16th century. These interlocking toothed wheels allowed the device to account for the elliptical orbits of heavenly bodies, compensating for the imperfections in their movements that simple clockwork couldn't handle. X-ray imaging reveals inscriptions detailing planetary positions and eclipse timings, while dials on the front face displayed the Metonic cycle, a 19-year lunar calendar, and the 4-year Olympiad schedule. This wasn't just astronomy, it was a convergence of mathematics, engineering, and philosophy, all turning in perfect harmony. But here's the haunting question: who built it? The shipwreck dates to around 60 BCE, but the mechanism's design suggests origins in the workshops of Rhodes, possibly linked to the legendary astronomer Hipparchus or the engineer Posidonius. Some researchers speculate it came from the school of Archimedes, whose lost writings described planetaria and celestial globes. Yet none of these figures left records of such a device, and no similar mechanisms have ever been found. It's as if this lone artifact slipped through a crack in time, surviving almost by accident to taunt us with what was possible and what was lost. The implications are staggering. If the ancient Greeks could craft machines this advanced, what else did they know that never made it into the historical record? The Antikythera mechanism suggests a technological lineage that might have led to mechanical clocks, orreries, even early computing centuries before they actually appeared. Instead, that knowledge vanished, perhaps destroyed in the burning of libraries, or simply forgotten as Rome's priorities shifted from inquiry to empire. By the time medieval monks built their first crude astronomical clocks, they were unknowingly reinventing a wheel that had already been perfected and then buried beneath the waves. Today, the mechanism's corroded fragments sit in a museum in Athens, still whispering secrets. Modern reconstructions prove it worked with eerie accuracy, but the full scope of its functions may never be recovered. Was it a teaching tool for philosophers, a navigational aid for sailors, or a wealthy patron's toy? Each new scan reveals deeper layers of complexity, as if the device itself is resisting full understanding. Its very existence forces us to reconsider the arc of human innovation, not as a straight line of progress, but as a spiral where brilliance can rise, fade, and rise again, separated by oceans of forgotten time. From the Nazca Lines' sprawling desert artistry to the submerged ruins of Dwarka whispering of lost cities beneath the waves, these 25 ancient anomalies have one thing in common. They defy the tidy timelines we've crafted for human history. Each one stands as a monument to questions we're still learning how to ask. How did cultures separated by continents and millennia achieve such uncanny precision in stone, or align their monuments with celestial events we'd need modern software to calculate? Why did some build for heights only visible from the sky, while others carved labyrinths deep beneath the earth? These aren't just relics, they're provocations, urging us to reconsider what ancient societies knew, how they shared knowledge, and what might still be buried in the gaps of our understanding. Take Puma Punku's shattered megaliths, cut with laser-like precision, or the Antikythera mechanism's bronze gears, artifacts that feel almost anachronistic in their sophistication. They hint at layers of innovation lost to time, whether through catastrophe, colonialism, or simple forgetfulness. Then there are sites like Göbekli Tepe, rewriting the very genesis of civilization by proving that hunter-gatherers could orchestrate monumental architecture before the dawn of agriculture. These discoveries don't just add footnotes to history, they rip out entire pages and demand we start fresh. Even the natural wonders, like Death Valley's sailing stones, remind us that the ancient world's magic often turns out to be science we're only now rediscovering. What ties these mysteries together isn't just their age, it's their stubborn refusal to fit neatly into our textbooks. The Olmec Head's silent stares, the Karnak Stone's seismic whispers, the Hanging Garden's disputed existence, all challenge us to hold space for ambiguity. They force us to confront how much we project our own assumptions onto the past, whether it's underestimating the engineering prowess of the Inca or dismissing oral traditions like Dwarka's as mere myth until archaeology catches up. So where does that leave us? Curiosity, not closure, is the real gift of these enigmas. Dive deeper into the theories, from the plausible to the provocative. Share which anomaly lingers in your imagination. Is it Baalbek's titanic stones, the Longyu Cave's echoing voids, or the Terra Preta's fertile defiance of the Amazon's harsh logic? The comments are yours. Debate, dissect, and let's keep the conversation as alive as the mysteries themselves. Because history isn't a locked door, it's a labyrinth, and every turn reveals another piece of the puzzle. Who knows, the next great discovery might start with a question you ask today.